John Gibson. A number of the RFW in Action members know John because he's the Vice President with Tricor Insurance. But in addition, John has sat on the board of directors and volunteers with a group that does microfinance. And WE International is a non-governmental organization based in Madison, whose mission is to prevent human trafficking. And WE works with several countries and has had a long-term presence in Uganda. And John and his wife Alice recently returned from Uganda for their second trip. And John has conducted training in some villages, and I think we're going to talk more about microfinance this afternoon, and we thought this would be kind of a nice way to break up and talk about some of the cross-cultural things, especially as it relates to the immigrant populations that we're dealing with.
What's that? Yeah. Well, Jumbo. That's Swahili for hello. So whenever you see a Ugandan, you always say Jumbo, and they respond, and then the Ugandans go like this, hey, Jumbo. And you say something like this, you go Oliotia. You would say back to me, you would say Jendi or Bulunji. And I was asking you, how are you? Oliotia. You would say Jendi, I am well, or Bulunji, I am good. So that's a little bit of language that we learned while we're in Uganda. As Tom mentioned, I sit on, I'm on the board of directors of a nonprofit NGO called We International. And We's focus as an NGO is basically global human trafficking issues, as well as anti-poverty things and microfinance, and we do a lot of different things with arts therapy and a lot of different divisions. My role is I'm the director of microfinance for We International. So I am helping establish curriculum. I'm actually developing my own curriculum right now because I've researched curriculum a little bit and I really don't like what I see out there in terms of stuff for international training. Stuff's good for American training, but I don't see a lot of good stuff for what I'm doing in Uganda. So I'm basically creating my own curriculum from scratch right now, and that's been a good learning experience. But today I wanted to share with you just a little bit about what we've been doing in Uganda. I have a lot of pictures, a lot of stories, but then we get into what we are doing with microfinance and entrepreneurial development and trying to help the Ugandans who are living in poverty to have a way to sustain their lifestyle and to educate their children. One thing that is kind of unique about Uganda is the fact that there's almost no governmental support for a lot of things. There's no governmental support for education. They have to pay for their own kids to go to school. There really are no social service systems in place for Uganda. It's just very limited what they can do there in terms of, in terms of how their support systems are in place. They're non-existent. And so they really have to do things on their own if they're going to help provide for their families, and that's kind of where we come into place. But I always like to start out a little bit about, sometimes people go, where is exactly Uganda? Well, Uganda is located in the eastern part of Africa, and if we scroll down just a little bit more, this is Uganda. It's on the northern part of Lake Victoria, and actually the area we flew into Entebbe. Kampala is the capital. About 3 million people live in the capital city of Kampala. And we took a harrowing 2-hour drive in a transport to Jinja and got on a boat and went to the island of Lingiras, where we ended up doing our training as well as being in Jinja for about a week. So I don't know if has anybody ever been to Uganda? That's in the room here? Yeah? I mean, fascinating country. I'm going to give a little bit of the background here on Uganda in just a minute. It is actually on the equator, so when you're there, the first thing I noticed when we got to Uganda is the days are exactly 12 hours long. I mean, the sun comes up at 7 and it goes down at 7 every day. It doesn't change because they're right on the equator. The climate's very tropical. It was 80 to 90 degrees the whole time we were there. It was sunny one week and then rain the whole next week. So that's kind of typical of their weather.